that's really about driving scale and driving impact. And the reason why we always try to work with institutional partners is because when we look at our organization, there are only so many people who can actually engage with smaller organizations.
Coming from the energy sector, each one of you definitely has got that type of energy need or energy utilization. And my challenge is, at the moment you're trying to create what we call a sustainable energy access fund. And for example, we try to approach you to do certain energy projects like renewable energy sector, including biogas. But we always find it a little bit difficult in terms of the bureaucracies that are involved in terms of reaching a deal at the end of the day. And so you don't see that kind of speed that you really desire.
2 years ago, we kind of started this whole innovation discussion and innovation initiative to say, how do we exactly bring in entrepreneurs, bring in individuals and small companies who are being disruptive, who are being innovative, bring them into our kind of very all traditional business in a way, and leverage on that and kind of share the common goal or passion or whatever, with like both kind of the assets we can provide.
Yeah, I see also I'm seeing some green coming up, so that's good. Who wants to give an explanation of their green card? Somebody I've not heard yet.
I was wondering, in an office setup, mostly computer-based, if it's not a very big office, what can you do to create a substantial impact on environment? I don't know, I'm not sure. So not just doing something for the sake of doing it, or not doing something that might not be tangible, but doing something really tangible. And it didn't have in mind.
Does anybody here in the room can give an example of how they do that in their office?
Because the office is built an environment on earth. It's not built somewhere in the air. So the thing is, you have to take care of the environment surrounding you, not polluting it. I mean, planting trees, for example, and
it's in the air because they're tall buildings.
but it still goes down.
Yeah, no, but it's concrete down there.
There's stuff like you can have a zero plastic rule in the office. Plastic bottles are some of the worst. The blue tops on plastic bottles are beyond awful. They're going to be here in 500 years. So a zero tolerance on plastic. Everything has to be washable. You can also reuse paper. You make sure that in the printer, if something's been printed wrong, you have a pile, you make sure that people put back paper. So it's small things like that to try and think of what your usage of materials is.
They are flexible, they have no baggage, they learn very quickly, they are in terms of their technology, appreciation is great. And therefore, we need to bring what is perceived as a challenge and begin to see the opportunity in the huge numbers that we have in an employed youth.
As a young person, I believe even if there is no funding available to build your business, whether you're trying to build a processing, a farm, these collaborative platforms that are available, they're able to help. Today I was able to meet one of the Florences here. It's able, these collaborative aspects are able to create an environment, you're able to interact and build your own case study.
I think probably it just lies with the mindset that the youth have. We shouldn't feel entitled to be given these opportunities, entitled to have access to these opportunities, but rather we should take it up to ourselves to go and access these opportunities.
We came up with a concept of a mobile health app. All that does, essentially, at the end of the day, is to capture data on how the woman is doing and transmits that data to the community, to the primary care facility. We are seeing a surge in the utilization. We are seeing a surge in the community participation in the day-to-day operations of the facility. We have trained the community to run a shop inside the facility so that it can monetize some of the day-to-day operations, because while we all talk about cost effectiveness in primary care, when we are introducing an intervention, we are adding cost.
This is great, thank you very much. Two parts. One's connected to the price point of how long this product will last. So are they looking at replacement every year, every 5 years? And the second is around what testing you've done on the accuracy of this product, because we've been working a lot with non-invasive hemoglobin testings, and we cannot get the accuracy right despite loads of R&D with Johns Hopkins and things, and it's leading to loads of false positives and some real problems.
I think in the context of the clinical validation, and specifically in Kenya, we had partnered with PATH, and through them we had subjected this particular sort of product to test, and the accuracy was close to about 98% in, especially in trying to count the beats and to be accurate in that particular range. So that's what I can say.
This is the carrying coriander soup. This is something which came up 1.5 to 2 months ago. We're still in the startup phase. We're still testing the system, but yeah, let me give you an example of only the rejects we have. We're able to come up with 10,000 cups of soup per day. So it's for us really interesting and find ways to be sustainable even with all the excess we have.
We came up with a drip fertilizer, a drip liquid fertilizer, or a fertilizer used for drip, so that when you drip in the land, the crop productivity improves by a very recognizable margin. So we have a product called Rabbit Extra, which is basically a drip and a foliar.
In Kenya, it's a bit of pity. In many countries, we pay on opposites. We pay on fat and on protein. Somehow, we missed the train in Kenya with that. But to start on a positive note, after the independence, there was a remarkable transformation from the large-scale farmers. It went all to the small-scale farmers. So all the milk is produced by 80% of small-scale farmers. 800,000 farmers depend on their livelihood of producing milk. If you count also the other people working in factories, etc., you are on 1.2 million livelihoods. So I want to put it also in perspective, that yes, we can improve, but the dairy sector is so important to us.
I want to ask a couple of questions though, just to hear from different departments and different sections, what you think sustainable inclusive business looks like in your sector. So I am the questioner and this is my program.
Okay, great sustainable development include partnership,
yes,
visibility, and recognition.
So my name is Veselina. I'm the country director for Oxford Business Group Kenya, and we're an international research company. We're dealing in over 30 emerging markets across the globe. What we do is trend analysis research on the sectors, and the way we do it is we meet with you, with the private sector, and also with the public sector and the civil society in the country. We actually have a very special partnership with Sustainable Inclusive Business today, and all the participants in the conference get a complimentary subscription to our Oxford Business Group online library.
I'm going to borrow someone's words. I'm not going to use my own. I was in the health workshop that Dr. Caminho facilitated this morning. My colleague, Dr. Rono from the Treasury PPP unit, he said it in one sentence. He said, look at your revenue base and your service cost structure and make sure they gel. So in terms of sustainability from an economic point of view, how do you serve the mass market? You look at your revenue base, because in Kenya, over 80% of people are informally employed, but they do work and they're economically active. But you have to look at your cost structure. What's the bottom line? of what it takes to keep your doors open. And then make sure they go together. Now, a lot of times we look at the social impact, the environmental impact. We don't pay enough attention in healthcare to the cost side. And again, because there's a lot of external funding, a lot of donors there, not enough work's been done on what it really takes to run a low-cost clinic in a working class or a poor area and make that work. So if we take a good look at, for example, the Indian model of low-cost healthcare delivery and adapt it to the Kenyan social environment, the political economy here, it can work. No one's hit that yet. So look at business models that work for poor people, but always keep the poor in mind. That's the mass market in this country. Right now, only the marginal market is served. So if we figure out how to get the mass market, we get the business model, it's going to be sustainable.
My name is Nyakan Munyeki, CEO for Timeless Women of Wonder. We realize that indeed, it's important to bring women into the conversation of development, especially if it's going to be sustainable. 2/3 of the world work is done by women, but only 10% of that income goes to women. So that's a very skewed statistic. Now, if you're looking at the role that women play in society generally, whether it's a cultural role, whether it's a business role, and whether it's nurturing of families and continuity in the nurturing of values, then it makes business sense and social sense to work through women and to channel all strategies, through these women. And one of the things we realize that is important to do, whether it's business, political, or development, is not to exclude the men.
Trends in sustainable, inclusive business.
Yeah.
Just trends.
Thank you. My name is Elfrieke van Galen. I'm from the Rock Group. We don't make music, but we work with companies to implement sustainability. Small, large companies, local, international, in different countries. To share you a few trends. What we see amongst business, it's not so much about why, but it's more about how. Question for tools. I think we've passed the why. Second trend is the trigger, quite often, to start with sustainability is business to business. As we're all part of a supply chain. Businesses want to start with sustainability, so they ask their suppliers. That's quite often how it starts. We see that businesses which are successful in sustainability, they really know how to embed sustainability in all their processes, being it operations, marketing, sales, across all processes. And then let's not make it too large, just start with the first step.
Let's talk about startups. Who's Robinson?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robinson Runyenje. I am here to speak about sustainable agriculture in terms of organic farming. So I won't talk about organic farming because my organization, which is 3 years old, has been developing products that are able to transit a farmer from the conventional farming to organic farming through use of our products, which are 3. One of them is for amending soil, it's a compost. The other 2 are liquid. One is a foliar and drip. You can use it as a drip irrigation on the soil so that it makes the soil to rejuvenate itself. And then we have the other one which is used as a foliar, and it is able to create an unconducive environment for pests and especially fungal.
Sustainable inclusive business in tourism. I hope I say this right. Jeroen Hadewig.
This region has a lot to show for it on a global scale when it comes to tourism. And so I'd like to take you up. You asked me about tourism. This morning you made some provocative remarks about tourism. So I'd like to come back to that. Basically, without tourism, the Serengeti and the Mara would be farmland. There would be no animals, there would be no natural habitat. And this is a fact. It's actually really good farmland. There's a lot of good rain, there's good grassland and all that. And countries like Kenya, Tanzania, Southern Africa, all the special ecosystems, they depend entirely on tourism almost. And like the money that is generated for the Serengeti is around $30 million. And there's no donors that make up for that sort of gap. And the government can't afford it either. Not just that, tourism is also one of the biggest employers in the region. It employs hundreds of thousands of people both in Kenya and Tanzania. It's only agriculture that employs more, and tourism typically pays better and has more international exposure. So that's a really important one. And actually tourism is an export product. It's not seen that way often, but basically what happens is that people, they come to get the product, but it's still an export product. So it's also very important for an exchange earner. But it's one of the very few industries that does that without actually extracting the natural resources, which especially in Africa I think is a really good one.
I'm representing Fresh and Easy. Fresh and Easy is a kind of online platform that acts as a kind of intermediary between farmers and final consumers. It's a subsidiary of its mother company, Mara Farming. Mara Farming is an export company. The intention with Fresh and Easy is to come up with farm fresh produce, but then high quality and safe produce. So everything we do, everything we produce, is produced according to European market standards. Next to that, we also have the soups and the juices. The soups and the juices is for us a concept where we're trying to be sustainable, and it's for us a way to make use of all the access we have. So let's say products which is physical appearance is not good enough for the export or for the high-end market that we're trying to target with Fresh and Easy. We're also trying to make use of curved beans, for example, or a carrot which is not in the right shape. So we're really trying to find ways to be sustainable with our food waste, so to speak.
My name is Purity from Kibo, Africa. It deals with motorcycles. This is the first motorcycle that is assembled in Kenya. It is from Holland. It was built in Holland, designed in Holland actually, built for Kenya, and it's for Africa. It's an all-terrain motorcycle, and today it's more about showcasing the motorcycle so that we can be able to let other people know that we have this type of motorcycle here, which